to my workshop called Bow Secrets for Virtuosity and Expression. My name is Dr. Lynn Kuo. I'm the founder of Violin with Dr. Lynn, where I coach high-level violinists how to master the instrument and become confident on stage. I'm also the assistant concertmaster of the National Ballet of Canada Orchestra. Welcome to this excellent workshop, because we're going to be digging into some high-level bow technique, where I'm going to help you develop more nuanced phrasing, more expressive sound, a sound that is not forced, and how we can create more precise articulation so that you can create a more dynamic, articulate, and precise sound that is stage ready and great for auditions. We're also going to dig into articulation, the 5 C's of bow technique, and what I call VAPPS, the ingredients for your personal trademark sound. Now, I have a couple of surprises for you in this workshop. We're going to go for about an hour or an hour and a half. So in the meantime, I would love for you to say hi in the chat. I already see someone saying hello. Hi, Naladri. Hello from India, fantastic. So, like Naladri, please say hello to me. I love seeing where you're from in the world, what pieces you're working on. So go ahead, type in the chat where you're from, what piece you're working on, and what question you might have about bow technique, bow articulation. I will hope that you stay to the end, because I will be doing a Q&A before that, and I will also be sharing how you can go further on this topic and get some personal help with me. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of highs. Hi, Harish. We have, yes, we have LA from Argentina. I was just in Argentina. David from Connecticut. Hello, Tanya. Oh, we have someone from Quebec, Violini. Fantastic. Izil. Oh, we've got my neighbor in Coleman, 115 from Toronto. Barbara, long time no see. Oh my gosh, good to see you. Barbara was in my VIP. Oh, wow, so many people. Christina, Lansing, Michigan, fantastic. Kristen Swilhart, Cleveland area, improve all over. Yes, okay, good. Oh, there's so many of you. Fantastic. Talia, hi Talia. Tanya, Ing. Oh my gosh, I saw you, Ing. There we go. Kim Swa from Malaysia. Malaysia, wow, that's really late in the night for you. Loy, Stephen. Oh, we got tons of you. Oh my gosh, Ricky. Hello. Anne-Marie. Okay, there's so many of you. Thank you. Okay, type in the chat what you're working on. I hopefully will get to your questions. I think I see someone from Egypt here. Oh my goodness, hello. Yajin, Carol, Christina, hello. Did I miss anybody? I missed a lot of you. Erin from Virginia, hi. Spiny, you're my neighbor too. Sarah, good to see you. How are you, Sarah? Sarah's one of my VIPs. Okay, so I also have a surprise where a VIP student is going to come and help me demonstrate some of the concepts. Jillian has so graciously is going to come. She will join me soon, and I will introduce you to her. We're going to be working on some bow technique for you so that you can see how we can work on it together in action. So this is going to be quite an action-packed workshop. I hope you have your instruments. I hope you have some paper and pen to take notes, because you will be remembering more if you write things down. Okay. Oh, and please stay, because I have some surprises. I have special props. Surprise. Okay, it's gonna be an exciting workshop. Let's hope nothing happens. Okay, all right. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what separates a good violinist from a really captivating one that can capture your imagination with their tone, the breadth of their expression, the brilliance of their playing. What they do that's different from other violinists is mastering the subtlety of expression, the subtlety of the technique of playing the violin. And much of that comes from the right hand, what happens inside the bow technique. Now, that we can go into weeks and weeks of study of bow technique, but today we're going to just cover mostly articulation and tone shaping. Okay, just so you know, we're only covering a sliver, a slice of what I can possibly cover in an hour's time or hour and a half time. I want to say hi to Norland. Norland's another one of my VIPs. Okay. Philip, another VIP shop. Hi, Phil. You're working on Beethoven too? Fantastic. Good. Some of my VIPs are here. Masked Violin. Carol, hello. Hi, Laura. Carol in Wisconsin. Laura from New York. Oh, Ian from Edmonton, another Canadian. Melody from Florida. Lorne from BC. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so you're working on, let's see, I see Vitaly Chacon, Bruch Concerto, the Adagio, Mary Haig is working on Dvorak Romance in F. Is beautiful. John, I'm going to shout you out. Hi, John. Oh, thank you. Yes, my recent fitness faceplant. If you're following me on social media, you'll know that I fainted and fell on my face. I tried to cover it up with makeup. Some of it still shows. Don't look too closely. And Sayumi from my VIP is here too. Okay, yes. Tchaikovsky Concerto, memorizing Bach A minor. Fantastic. Hello, E. Lee from Singapore. Oh, there's so many of you. Fantastic. Okay, great. All right, let's not waste any time. So we have a lot to cover. Yes, there is a recording melody. Melody, I see you. There is a recording. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, stay for as much as you can. And I will have question and answer at the end and also a special invitation. So please try to stay to the end as much as possible. All right, so what separates a great violinist from a good violinist is the subtlety of expression and the technique. Subtlety of expression and technique, and much of that comes from the right hand, which is what we're going to be looking at today. So what is the first thing I want to take a look at is common mistakes that we make with the bow, okay? And that's usually what I see in my VIP classes, where people bring in very advanced repertoire and they end up playing the repertoire, and what is missing is the subtlety. I think David, are you here? David Roseman? I think you had requested Bruch Violin Concerto. Okay, so let me give you an example of a bow mistake. Okay, aside from getting a basic tone, which I will cover in a second, one of the biggest mistakes that I see is having the same bow speed for everything. Let me do an exaggeration of this. Okay, so I might be cheating by adjusting my vibrato and not putting in rubato with the timing, but you can tell it's okay. It's okay playing, but it could be a lot more exciting. And this is what I mean by getting more subtle with bow speed, bow pressure, contact point. We're going to be talking about some variables. So another mistake that I hear is undesirable sound. So there are basically two categories of undesirable sound. And this I take from the pedagogue Simon Fisher, who wrote this amazing book here, which I dropped on the floor. It's called Tone. Okay. If you don't have this book, don't worry. I did not own this book until recently. But in the foreword of this book, we talk about the two categories of undesirable tone. Now, this is really important because we want to separate good violinists from great violinists. And we need to know how we can ascend to the category of great violinist. And it comes with analyzing how you sound using your bow. And when we play a note or a phrase and we hear something undesirable, it really helps for you to catch that sound and understand what category it belongs to. Now, so one of this falls under the mistakes that people make. You can have okay, so this type of sound, all right, is one category of sound, which is what? Heavy, pressed, crunched, forced, muscled. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you're taking notes, one category of undesirable sound is pressed. We are going to look at how we can do exercises to counterbalance that, to open up the sound. Okay, now on the other side of the spectrum is the second category of undesirable sound. This falls into this category. A bit wispy, whiny, floaty, not concentrated, and no core. Okay, so we have two spectrums or two categories of undesirable sound. Now that you know what you're listening for, this is going to help you get from one level of playing thin. Thank you, David. I see. Thank you so much. Thin sound. Okay, so if you're working with a coach, then they will help you identify where these are, let's say, holes or weaknesses or in your playing. Now, my first tip for you, okay, tip number one in this workshop is to start holding yourself to a higher standard in your sound. And that means listen more carefully. I'm saying that very slowly for a reason, okay? So we want to make sure that your ears are really turned on. And I talk about that in my practice course, which I sell separately, called Practice Techniques. But in the pursuit of excellent sound production and tonal expression and virtuosity, we must hold ourselves to a higher standard, and how we do that is by paying closer attention. Now, how are we going to do that? One, you train the ear to demand higher standards by being alert. One, okay, write this down. Being more alert when you're practicing, okay? Now, if you're busy playing, as most of us are, it's hard to do playing and technical fingerings and looking at the rhythms. We get distracted by the other elements. Fingerings, accidentals, dynamics, and we don't have enough bandwidth to hear the tone that we're making. I understand. I'm the same way. So therefore, start recording yourself so you can catch these things that you miss while you're busy with other details. Okay, so one, demand higher standards from yourself. How are you going to do that? Pay more attention. Two, if you don't have enough bandwidth to pay attention, record yourself more often and then watch and listen to those recordings. Okay, now you've done the work, you've recorded, you're starting to pay attention, but you're still not happy with the sound. The next tip I have for you is 3, work with a coach. Okay, work with your teacher, because they are trained to help you hear things that you don't hear. Okay, I have a lot of people who come into my VIP program, they play their concertos or they play their orchestral excerpts and they don't hear one string crossing that's a little bit fuzzy. They don't hear a note that is not clear and has core in their sound. So we work on that. We take the technical details, okay? So another thing that what you can do is to start creating a mental picture of the type of sound that you are going for. After I listen to a couple of recordings, maybe David Oistrakh, Janine Jansen, whomever your idols are, listen to the quality of sound that they have. Therefore, you have an aural, A-U-R-A-L, an aural image of what your gold standard of sound is. Then you go back to tip number 1, play yourself and see, does my playing resemble my idol's sound, okay? Then you're listening really careful and seeing what you can do technically to get that sound. Now, we'll cover those technical details on how we can craft that sound that is your gold standard. Am I making sense? If I am, maybe type a yes in the chat. Okay, you're following me so far? Okay, so I see some of the repertoire that you're working on. Yinming, you're working on Bach Second Partita. Laura, you're working on Beethoven Quartet Opus 59-3. Fantastic. Hello, Sister Marie-Therese. Havana is beautiful. Okay, let's see. Drew, hi Drew. You're from Carborough, USA, percussionist learning. Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. I forgot that you're a percussionist. Okay. Wait, there we go. Yes, okay, good. Everyone's following me along. Great. Oh, we have Kendra, another VIP. Hi, Kendra. Kendra, you're in Labrador, I know. Hello, Mary. Okay, good. So we're following along. Excellent. All right. So you're going to say, okay, Lynn's wanting me to demand a higher standard of myself and to train the ear to demand better. Okay. So I hear you. I understand that we want to have higher standards, and we sometimes don't know what those higher standards are. Okay. So what I suggest is we start looking at my 5 C's. Okay. What are the 5 C's? This is what I call the 5 C's of bow technique, because often when I'm teaching students in my class, I see that they have bow troubles. They don't know it, but they're working on a piece, and I see that their piece is not going as well as they wanted because they're not able to control their bow. C. This is a C that I often see, control. If you're taking notes, one of the 5 C's is control. Control of the bow. This one has a lot of topics underneath it. Control of the bow will mean the control of the speed of the bow, whether it's slow, whether it's fast, okay, or anywhere in between. Control of the bow also means a contact point. This is another C, okay? These 5 C's are all overlapping, as you will see. C. Control means, do you have control over the contact point? So contact point where I am near the bridge, or contact point near the fingerboard. Can I still make a beautiful sound on either of these contact points or anywhere in between? So we will cover some exercises on how we can gain more control between all these contact points, okay? If you're taking notes, okay, here's another C. Can we maintain a consistent bow? Sometimes I see bows that do this, okay? Sometimes I see bows that go in and out of core or concentration. There's another C for you. So can you maintain consistency? If you need to hold a long tone, are you able to make it consistent? If you are, that means you have another C, control. Now, overlapping with consistency is a sense of calm. Or, for example, Beethoven 9. Calm. Despite the fact that you're moving your left and talking at the same time, okay? So, are you able to have enough hand-eye coordination, or talking hand coordination in this instance, and string crossing coordination to be able to maintain calm, control, consistency, and knowledge of your contact point? Okay, those are 4 of those C's. I hope you're taking notes, all right? Only one earbud works in only this video. That's strange. I have one earbud myself. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. Let me know if everyone can hear me okay. Everyone hears me okay, right? Yeah? Type a yes for me, please. Someone tell me I'm okay. Yes, okay. Thank you, Master Violin. Thank you so much. Okay, so the 5th C, you're probably wondering the 5th C. I thought about this and I thought, I need to tell everyone about this topic too, because I've been going deep into this topic as well. How can we get clean sound, okay? So we can get a beautiful sound, but is it clean? So this goes back to the two categories of beautiful or undesirable sound. Is the sound clean? Sometimes we may play something. Do you hear one of those D's is not clean? Yeah, it's this one. That one. So when I'm hearing my students play in their audition excerpts, let's say that happens. So this is what I mean by holding yourself up to a higher standard where you're catching undesirable sound. One of the 2 categories. So in this example, what category was this? D. Who can tell me in the chat right away? Which category? Who's paying attention? Anybody? 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 No? Okay. So when you're listening, thank you. Master Violin is first. Crunched. Okay. So then after you're able to hear, yes, Mary, you're right too. Yes, you are right as well, Sarah. Sarah? Yeah, heavy. Perfect. Yes. And in Kim Swai, you're right. Pressed. Excellent. So that's right. So pressed can also mean thin, as Mary said as well. So when we are looking at undesirable sound, your first order of business is to pay attention. And I see people playing, but they don't hear. Okay, so this is where your coach comes in. This is where your recording comes in. If you don't have the bandwidth to hear it yourself, get a recording of yourself, record yourself, and then listen back. If that is not enough, get a coach to help you spot those things, okay? So if we're playing with this crunched sound, okay, how are we going to fix this? We have to now talk about the variables, okay? So the variables, what am I going to talk about? The bow variables. Simon Fisher talks about 3 bow variables. I like to talk about 5. I like to add 2 more. So if you're taking notes, what I like to talk about is V for vibrato, for vibrato. V also crafts your sound. A, you're taking notes, right? A is for the angle of your bow. I spent a whole lifetime playing the violin, and when I graduated with my master's degree, I think it was, I still was playing with a crooked bow. And there, I lost my sound there. So A is for angle. Just double check. Double check if the angle of your bow is producing the right optimal 90-degree angle. Okay. Basically, you want to go parallel to your bridge, and because the bridge is curved, right? The bridge is curved this way. It's going to be difficult for your eye to detect whether you're truly parallel to the bridge. So a better, let's say, what's the word? Way to gauge if your bow is going in a correct angle is to look at the strings and determine if you are at a perfect 90-degree cross. Okay, I'm making a perfect cross. And of course, why is that important? We want to be able to get the string to vibrate. This is the string, okay? We want the string to vibrate this way. Now, if you're going to, how do I do this? If your angle is not correct, let's say this way, one side of the bow will be causing the string to vibrate, but the other side of the bow, the crooked side here, will be cutting the string. That's why sound doesn't work. It's physics. So you want the maximum resonance, okay? The maximum resonance from your bow, and that comes from making sure that you're not cutting your own sound. Literally cutting your own sound. Okay. Wait till I get to this point, okay? Wait till we get to the knife. All right, so you can think of the knife cutting through the sound at a perfectly right angle to your string. Okay, so that's another tip for you. So where am I in my notes? Okay, so V stands for vibrato. We won't cover that in this topic, in this workshop, because I covered that in another workshop, which you can find on my YouTube channel. Whole workshop on that. So angle, we'll cover, it's the foundation. If you don't have a 90-degree angle, you're not going to get maximum resonance. So this workshop is about getting a sound that makes you stage ready, making sure that your fundamentals are there, that you have the maximum resonance. Now we get to PPS, VAPPS, VAPPS is my personal acronym. P, pressure, as many of you said, okay? So there's pressure, right? Too much pressure will kill your sound. Now, when you increase the speed of the bow, which is the S of VAPPS, right? The pressure and speed will be in relation to each other. One, it balances out the other. The other P in my formula is point of contact. So you've got pressure, right? Point of contact. Okay, that's way too much pressure. But if you change this point of contact, let's say I play here in the fingerboard, this point of contact here. And this speed. This is a crunchy sound. Pressed, forced, not singing, not resonant. So if we hear this kind of sound, how am I going to fix this? The first order of business, and this comes from this book here, I love quoting the foreword of Mr. Fisher's book. The first variable that we need to look at is bow speed. Always the S, okay? So if you're taking notes, always look at the speed. So in this formula, this bow speed is too slow. If I doubled this speed, there, my sound immediately improved. Does that give us a sense of how we can start to troubleshoot our own undesirable sound? Type a yes if you're following and you agree. This now gives me a framework on how I can troubleshoot my own sound. Okay, vibrato, angle, and more importantly, point of contact, pressure, speed, right? Type an S, yes, in the chat if that makes sense. So if I hear crunched sound, what's the first variable? Speed. There, I fixed much of it, okay? Good, thank you. I see a lot of yeses coming in. Thank you, agreed, excellent. Camille, thank you. Masked, Carol, yes, thank you. Philip, Ricky, thank you. Friendly neighbor, Goober, Erin, yes. Edmundo, Maria, whoa, lots of you. Good, excellent. So, what about the other type of sound? The wispy sound? Okay, you see how fast my bow is now? Yes? So this bow speed is too fast. Too fast. Okay, so now I'm going to slow the speed down. I'm going to keep the bow contact point of contact or contact point. All right? Slow it down. That's a slower bow, or as we say, less bow. The sound has now become less undesirable and more acceptable. Okay? So this is the beginnings of how to troubleshoot bad sound or undesirable sound. Okay, you're with me here. So this is really important. So step number 1 is to start listening really carefully for these types of sounds, the 2 categories of sounds that we do not like, whether it's crunched or wispy. Then we correct it by going to the variables. And most important variable is speed, VAPPS, speed, S, okay? So then we can add on vibrato, etc., okay? So how we approach sound is by making sure that all these bow variables are healthy and strong first. So I think of it like putting on makeup and skincare. So oftentimes we want to put on, I don't know, lots of vibrato. Lots of vibrato. For me, vibrato is like makeup. Like putting your eyeliner on, your mascara, the eyeshadow, or putting on the blush and the lipstick. But if your foundation, okay, for those of you who put on makeup, if your skin is dry, if you do not have a proper base, if your skin is not hydrated first, and we all know that skincare is a regular pursuit, right? Just like pursuing your sound is a regular pursuit. We have to pursue good sound first before we can add, right? Before we add on the makeup. Okay? Does that who puts on makeup understands what I'm talking about? Just put the emoji, lipstick emoji if you've got a emoji system. Okay? Surprise me. Put your makeup emoji in the chat. So work on the bow first and think of it as your foundation, your skincare, your hydration, yeah, your healthy foundation. Yay, thank you, Jillian there. Thank you, Jillian. Okay, yay, finally, my first lipstick emoji. Kendra, thank you so much, okay? So thank you, Sarah, Aaron, fantastic. So this is what I mean. Let's see, oh, I have to figure out how to work this. Okay, okay, good, thank you. Nicola, thank you for that lipstick, excellent. Okay, so we have all these variables. Let me show you what I mean, okay? In terms of shaping sound that is nuanced and expressive for a phrase, okay? So let's take a case study with, okay, so Swan Lake, Tchaikovsky Swan Lake, there's a Concertmaster solo, White Swan solo. So this will show a couple of variables. Without vibrato, I'm going to take away the makeup, take away the mascara, the lipstick, etc., and the eyeliner, and just show you the bow. Now, let me show you mistake number one. What I had said was poor sound. Okay, poor sound was... To me, this is not a beautiful sound. It's an okay sound. It's not beautiful. It's a little bit too pressed for my liking, okay? So step number one is to hold myself up to a higher standard. I picture something more resonant. So resonance, how do I get that? What did I say to adjust the speed of the bow first? So I chose a bow speed that was, let's say, a medium speed. Let's say you're driving a car in Canada. Let's say you're driving 75 miles an hour, okay? Or maybe 50, let's say 50 miles an hour, 50 kilometers an hour in Canada. What if I increase this to 75 kilometers an hour? That's about 75. The sound is already different, okay? What if I increase it to 100 kilometers an hour? No vibrato, no makeup. Sound is already different. But you also notice that as I adjust the speed of the bow, my point of contact, one of the P's, has to move further away to the fingerboard. So the three last variables, pressure, point of contact, and speed, are all in ratios to each other, okay? What if I go 120 kilometers an hour? Sorry, I have to move my contact point out into a further lane on the highway. Fast bow speed needs a lot of bow. I have to adjust the pressure. Now I have a light pressure, as you can see. So now you can see that with the different speeds, 50, 75, 100, and 120 kilometers an hour, I had to then change the ratio of the pressure, the contact point. And therefore, each of these speeds creates a different sound quality. Now you see where nuance comes from. Yeah? If you see the nuance, type nuance for me in the chat. N, nuance, okay? Just follow along with me. Understand that speed, when you adjust speed, you're going to be able to adjust your nuance. So let's get your instruments out, okay? So I want to show you, thank you, Mary. I see an N from Mary. Mary's the first one. So, okay, while you get your instruments out and get ready for the first exercise. Yes, Harish, Vijay, yes. If your bow speed is high, it has to be close to the fingerboard. Exactly. So this is the balance of how you're going to balance these ratios. So yes, when your speed increases, you're usually going to move your bridge out, your bow out to a further contact point. So let me demonstrate. So in White Swan solo, fast bow speed. Okay, let me play and I'll talk through what I'm doing. So this is a medium bow speed, maybe 35 kilometers an hour. Oh, let me do no vibrato for you. No makeup. Slow, 35 kilometers. Notice my point of contact. It's about middle. Now let's see what happens when I bring it closer to the bridge. At this speed, it becomes raspy and thin. So if it's raspy and thin, how do I troubleshoot that? More bow speed, but I've run out of bow. Okay, so it depends. You may need to go slower next to the bridge or faster closer to the fingerboard. And if it's faster near the fingerboard, your pressure will be light, and then more pressure will be needed near the frog. So you will start to become more and more intelligent and sensitive. So for example, near the bridge, the contact point near the bridge can handle more pressure and slow bow. So this is about 10 kilometers an hour, 5 to 10. But if you do 5 to 10 here in this lane of the highway, See the sound? Very different sound. 5 or 10 kilometers an hour. 5 or 10 again here. You see the difference? You hear the difference, more importantly. Let me show you 100 kilometers an hour over here. That's acceptable. It's a whoa sound over here in this lane. Doesn't work. Okay, so you're going to start paying attention. Now, remember rule number 1, you have to listen really, really carefully and demand a higher standard of yourself. If you hear this, then you have to say what's going on. Is it point of contact? Is it speed? Am I in the wrong point of contact? Am I in the wrong lane of the highway? Okay, if you want to think of it as a highway. So if you want to practice first in the middle, okay, then you're going to be safe in the middle of the highway, and then you start to learn how to adjust the speed of your car without creating this sound or that sound. Does that make sense? So let me talk, while you get your instruments out, let me show you what, I'll see if I can talk through and play at the same time. White Swan, Concertmaster solo from Tchaikovsky Swan Lake. So this is no vibrato. This is a mistake that would be, let's say, a less experienced violinist. No vibrato. No, wait, I'll add vibrato, but no bow nuance. One bow speed, one pressure, one contact point, one vibrato, all the same. It's okay, but boring, okay? You agree it's boring, right? You don't have to tell me it's boring. I know it's boring, okay? I see your question, Laura, what causes a bumpy bow? That I will have to cover. I've kind of covered that in another workshop about... Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. There's so many topics to cover in bow technique. I may not be able to cover them all because it's already half an hour in. So let me show you. Let's show you no vibrato. Okay, no makeup. But now I'm going to shape as much as I can with the bow. I want you to now listen and watch with the at the bow variables that I'm manipulating, particularly speed, point of contact, and pressure. Okay, so slow bow speed first for the pickup. Slow. No vibrato, sorry. This one has more pressure near the frogs, you know, just the contact point. Near the bridge. There's a change already in this G natural. It starts intense and by the end relaxes. Do you see that? Okay, so that's one nuance that I created in my bow with no vibrato. Even this E flat does not remain the same. There's an organic change in the E flat. Maybe it grows into the D. This is G5 is intense into the G, and this is light. I'm carrying the bow here. Light, not this. Hear the difference? This is a light bow pressure with a faster bow speed. Light. Intensifying on the E flat. See, that has a nuanced E flat. And even that's growing on a D flat. E flat is going to the G flat. And now I let this die. So now it's a slow bow speed. See that? Long, now slow bow speed. Okay, so you see the variations in bow speed. You heard the difference. One was robotic and the same, and one now has nuanced speeds and pressure and contact points. Now, then we can add V, the vibrato. Now we can add makeup, okay? So if I run out of ideas with the bow, I can use the vibrato to put on some more makeup, okay? Now I'm allowed to put on a little bit of makeup. So, mascara, eyeliner, lipstick. There's some really good lipstick there. Lip gloss, maybe. And so now I've paired it with a nuance in the bow. Can you tell? So in this area of the tip here, hopefully I'm answering some of your questions. The bow pressure is kind of lighter, but while it's lighter, it's dead if I don't put on makeup. So there, I'm going to add my makeup now to help spin the sound. Many of my students in my VIP coaching classes hear me talk about spinning the sound, making sure the sound doesn't remain flat and boring. So if you want that spin, so this doesn't need it there, or maybe I want it there. And Michelle, yes, there is a replay. There's that spin. See, right there. Spin. I'm trying to get the sound to spin. Now, I'm also getting the spin from the resonance of the bow. So I'm not, no spin. Spin meanings I'm getting, remember we talked about angle of the bow? The maximum amount of resonance from the string will be the more vibration back and forth. So the angle of the bow has to be, there's my angle, perfectly 90 degrees to get the maximum amount of spin here. And what I'm doing with my ear is listening. Is my instrument resonating at its maximum? No. Yes. Can we all hear that difference? I'm holding myself up to a higher standard. I'm not going to tolerate that's too crunched for my liking. That's too wispy for my liking. So I go somewhere in the middle. There it is. You hear that ring? I don't know if you can hear that in my microphone and with my instrument. Yes, you can hear that, right? That's resonance, and that's without makeup. Okay, so now that I have that resonance, now I can add a little bit of lip gloss. And there I'm getting the sound to spin at the very end of my note, so that the note never becomes boring. Okay, so here's another thing for you to remember. A general rule for musicality or for nuanced phrasing, okay? It's not a rule, but it's a great guideline. Anytime you have a long note, thank you, Mary, okay? So anytime you have a long note, I hate using the word should. It's not a good word in the vocabulary. A long note deserves to be organic. It never sounds good when it's completely flat, like AI or Siri or Alexa, okay? You know when you talk to Alexa or Siri, and Siri's listening to me right now. But if I asked Siri to talk to me, it would be very flat and no resonance, no expression. It would sound very boring. So we want our sound to breathe, okay? So how we're going to do that is, I want you to now think, anytime I have a long note, oh, here, I said long note, long note. Do you want long note or do you want long note? Which sounds more human? So think of your long notes as human, meaning that a long note, I'm going to use the word should. I don't like using the word should. A long note should never be straight or flat. I'm finding very few exceptions. There's a couple that I found actually. In Don Juan. So this, that is kind of straight, I have to admit. The G sharp, those are kind of flat, I have to admit. But very rarely are long notes going to do nothing. They either have a shape, or they shape like this, or they shape like that. So how are we going to get that nuance, okay? It's by manipulating pressure, speed, point of contact. And then you add the vibrato as your makeup. Do I make sense? Yeah? Do I make sense? Okay, you have to establish that the bow, the nuance in your bow, by manipulating the, first of all, getting a good angle to get the maximum amount of resonance out of your instrument with a good angle of the bow, perfectly 90 degree. Thank you for the yeses, okay? I will get to these questions later. Okay, so, oh God, so many questions. These kind of questions I do answer in my VIP coaching class, okay? So I will give you the basic foundation so that you can intelligently apply them to your repertoire. So if you're going to play slowly, okay, so the White Swan, so let me give you a different example. Because we have this question of adagio versus allegro. Slow bow. Now, you see this? This is a long note. B flat. It starts slow. Watch the contact point, look at the speed. Starts slow, picks up speed. That long note is no longer boring. Okay? Even the first note of Bruch Violin Concerto, this is boring. Contact point remains the same, speed remains the same. But what if I develop this long note and create some mystery? So it develops, and that's without any vibrato. So what I'm doing is I'm increasing the weight, okay? I'm increasing the weight through pressure. Now, I think I'm going to bring out one of my props, and Jillian will come on soon. just so you're prepared, Jillian, in the background. How do we get weight without crushing? I may be answering one of your questions here. This is where I'm going to bring out my knife. Okay? I have Exhibit A, block of cheese. Okay? How do we get more sound, more intensity, like in the Bruch Violin Concerto, or even in the White Swan solo of Tchaikovsky Swan Lake? What we're going to do is not press. This is the difficulty with using the word pressure. We think that we have to push. And this is where we're going to get into undesirable category of sound, but forced sound. So how are we going to get that? I hope I'm answering your question. Some of you have asked this question. Sorry, I have to scroll back, and I only have two hands. I don't want to drop the knife in my toe. We're going to think of, there. See how my knife is now sunken into my cheese? There. This is the feeling. This is the feeling of how your bow is going to pull your string without muscling the knife. The knife is already stuck in your cheese, or your bow is stuck in your string. Okay? Then as you pull this knife, I won't be able to pull it without dragging the cheese, but that, oh, yes I am. Look, there we go. 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 I'm dragging the knife through the cheese. This is the feeling, all right? It's an approximate feeling of how a relaxed bow arm, now this answers one of your other questions too. Where is this question? Something about shaky bow, or I'm so sorry. So many questions. I can't get through them all. So when you find G string is a good example. For example, there. I'm going to place my knife into my cheese. Okay, follow along here if you got your instrument. There. I don't know if you can tell, but the cheese. I don't know if you can tell. The cheese there will give a little bit. Okay. Now there's a difference between pushing the knife into the cheese. Yeah. There's a difference between pushing into the cheese and letting the knife melt. Think of a grilled cheese sandwich. Put the cheese on a hot skillet, let the cheese melt, be a little soft, and let that knife sink into that melted cheese. Okay? So now we're not muscling the knife. Now you're going to drag. Okay, so now I have undesirable sound number one, right? What did I say? Pull more speed. So pull the knife with more speed. That's a nicer sound, isn't it? Okay, so now you're starting to understand how we can get a deep sound, or pressure, okay? It's a bit of a dangerous word to use, pressure, but you want weight. How is that? I'll give you another tip. The pressure, not pressure, the weight is going to come from this, behind your elbow here. If you think of this part, almost like there's an anvil, a heavy thing dragging your arm, heavy. What happens there, for all you aspiring pedagogues and who have students studying with you, when you think of this part of your arm as heavy, then you no longer force with this part of your bow arm. When you force here, this part gets tight, and that tightness translates into tightness in the sound, which also contributes to shaking. Okay, so if you're asking me the question, someone asked the question earlier. Sorry, I missed I saw your question. I'm so sorry. I don't know your name. Someone asked about tension. Shaking in the sound comes from tightness. Tightness. If you want to eliminate tightness, you have to find where in your body's tight. This area becomes tight, so I loosen that and then find the weight through this. The general rule here is to find weight in bigger parts of the body. Okay? Right. Okay, let me get back on track here. Now, so then let's say we're going through, maybe we get to a point in the music where we want it to be quiet. A diminuendo. Okay, it would be the, maybe you want a diminuendo at the very end. So how do we get this sound, right? This kind of sound we need to be able to control from the cutting the knife through the cheese. Sorry, let me get a thicker string. Here we go. Okay, let me try E string. Cutting the knife through the cheese is just a bit of drag. We'll call it drag, okay, without breaking. Yeah? Right? Unplug the sound. More sound, more speed. And what you're doing is you're developing sensitivity in these fingers as well, in your bow hand. Okay, now, if you want to get this sound, let's say like this kind of sign, see the speed has increased. Then we can start practicing the other end of the spectrum. Okay, so now we have the knife and the cheese. Now this is called the hover bow exercise. The hover bow exercise is you're literally going to practice bow control by playing above the string. Ta-da! I'm bowing, You can't hear anything. You can't hear anything. You can't hear anything. You can't hear anything. This takes a lot of stability in the fingers. You can do this with me right now. Yeah, okay, so there we go. Being able to do this and then go into the string. There we go. Okay, all right, does that make sense? Okay, I'm gonna bring on Jillian, okay, to help me. I think Jillian is ready so that we have not just me monkeying around with these ideas. Jillian, are you there? Welcome, Jillian. Everyone give a nice round of applause for Jillian. Say hi. Hi, Jillian.
Hi. Hi, Dr. Lynn. Hi, everyone.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for joining me. Okay,
Yeah,
so
great.
thank you for being my guinea pig, Jillian. So,
Okay.
would you be able to show everyone what this hover bow looks like? Excellent. Okay, everyone look how great Jillian is doing here. I want to remind everyone here about the 5 C's. Jillian is displaying excellent control because I see control of Jillian's bow speed. It remains the same. That tells me Jillian's got good control in a long tone, okay? Now, if Jillian, I want to challenge you, how can you show everyone how to create a nuanced long note? Because we said the rule is long notes will never stay flat like Siri. What are you going to do? Surprise us in what you're going to do to shape that open string. Wow. Did everyone hear the nuanced phrasing at the very, very end of Jillian's long tone? Yes? Okay. So this is great. So Jillian is telling a story, right, in the long note. Now, this is an exercise for all of us to try. If you want to be able to increase your ability to create exciting phrases, then why don't I give everyone, including Jillian and myself, an exercise to try. We'll do it on the same string. So we start pianissimo and we'll count 4 beats. And every beat you're going to go piano, forte, piano, forte, piano, forte, piano, forte, piano, forte, piano, forte. I was trying to move the contact point over and over because you can do it in different ways. This is taken from Simon Fisher's tone book. You can start, let's say, fingerboard. You want to try that? Okay, so the more that you get into the metronome and challenge yourself to really manipulate the lanes of the highway, it gets harder and harder and harder. Jillian, did you find that easy? Kind of?
Not, well, after practice, yeah.
Yeah, I had to practice those too. So I guarantee that everyone paying attention here, if you challenge yourself, you can buy the book if you like, Tone from Simon Fisher, or you can literally, here's another tip, write this one down, practice an etude like Kreutzer number 1. Kreutzer number 1 is excellent. The slower that you play it, the more it challenges your one of the 4 C's: control, calm, consistency, and control. So Kreutzer number 1 is 1, 2, with a crescendo, 4, 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and. There's a crescendo at the very last beat. There's a decrescendo here. 2, 3, 4. This is a long note. It's going to crescendo soon. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. Okay, that etude, and Chris, hello Chris, you know that etude very well because I've assigned that to Chris in my VIP class. Yeah, and so Philip congratulates you on your long note. Yeah, brava. Okay, so this is nuanced bow use for legato phrases. Okay, I want to now move to diamond-like precision, diamond-like sound. I use the word diamond because I think of clean articulation, like clean and sharp like a diamond. And one of the reasons I asked Jillian to come and help me is to demonstrate the beginning of Mozart Fourth Concerto. And I think Jillian, you're prepared for this. Yeah, I'm not just throwing Jillian into the arena here. Yeah, Chris, I was just screaming, Kreutzer 1, Kreutzer 1. Yes, exactly. Chris knows exactly what this is. Okay, so let's talk about how we get virtuoso sound. So what do I mean? This sound is clean and it's brilliant, and it helps for virtuoso soloists, but it also is very beneficial for those of you taking auditions. You want your excerpts to be very clean. For example, here, there is an accent on the B, for example, right? You want that to be clean. Clean. Clean here. Clean here. Yeah, and clean here. Clean here. Okay, so you see where the application of clean, diamond-like precision comes into an orchestral excerpt. Jillian, does that make sense to you? Yeah? Okay, good. Does that make sense to everyone in the room? Okay. Thank you so much. Niam, thank you so much. Philip, yes, Kreutzer Etude. Yes, okay. So we're going to take a look at how we get that. Allow me to bring my exhibit B. Okay, we bring back the knife. Okay, your bow is your knife. We want to cut cleanly. If you want, you can think of C as cut. Okay, we don't always want to cut with articulation. We don't always want to go with every time you put the bow to the string. That can kind of get annoying. You want to vary the type of articulations. So please, I'm going to preface this. Do not use cut for every time you put the bow. It can get inappropriate and annoying. It's kind of like me talking like this all the time. It gets very percussive. We don't want to talk like that all the time. We want to vary it. But when you want to have clean articulation in notes that need tidying up, I'm trying to find consonants where I can use this concept. Barbara, thank you so much. You use the absolute best props. Thank you. Okay, I'm not done yet. Ta-da! Balloon. Okay, I wanted to get saran wrap, and I did, but it just wasn't working for me. What I wanted to do was get a drum skin, and it just wasn't working. So I tried to simulate it with saran wrap, and it wasn't working because it was too, I don't know, it just didn't really work. So then I went across the street to the dollar store and blew up some balloons, and boy, did they ever smell like chemicals, let me tell you. I probably ingested chemicals into my body now after blowing these up. Diamond cut, okay? This is going to relate to note without pressing the sound. So if your bow is pressing the sound, you do not want me to press into this balloon, right? No, right? So never press, otherwise you'll kill the balloon. You're gonna pop the balloon. So when you place your bow, find the weight of your arm or weight of the knife. I chose my 6-inch chef knife for a reason, not a steak knife, or not a butter knife, but I chose this heavy knife for a reason. You want the natural weight of your bow and the natural weight of your arm to sink on the string. Just like that. Now, let me bring this a little closer. I wish this balloon was a little bit, I don't know, had a bit more. Okay, so you see how bouncy, bounce? Your string behaves like that too. Okay, you see the bounce? Okay, so you do not push the string. If I push this knife, guess what happens? We have a disaster. Okay? We have a disaster. So, I hope you're doing this with me. Jillian, would you please demonstrate with me? Help me? Okay, actually, I'm going to remove Jillian for 1 second because I want everyone to see really clearly. Okay. Okay. All right? We do not want to push into this knife, push into this balloon. So, when you do this, oh, yes, I'm drawing. Whoa, and the balloon is bouncing on me, okay? So that's a part of the issue with the violin. The string will have its natural bounce, and the hairs of your bow will also have a natural bounce. So we have to learn how to, not manipulate, control. See my fingers? You're gonna get more sensitive with your fingers and how you're gonna control this bounce. In fact, it can get so bouncy that you can actually figure out the bounce and get into a down bow staccato or up bow staccato, or like that. Okay, if that makes sense. So the balloon is there to remind us that your hand is never going to push into the balloon, squeeze, tighten, or force this, okay? So let's go back. Sorry, Jillian, I'll bring you back in a second. So here's my knife, all right? We're going to take the beginning of Mozart. So the knife goes into your cheese or your balloon, okay? It depends on what repertoire you want. If you want yeah, something like that, then you can afford to go into cheddar cheese territory. But if you want to go into, let's say, something quieter, like that. That has a knife in the balloon kind of articulation, but it's not like that. Do you see the difference? Yeah? So we're going to have to go in between the cheddar cheese and balloon extremes, and you're going to have to develop and discerningly choose between the two. Okay? So, Jillian, if you wouldn't mind, we're going to find that diamond cut. I kind of call it the diamond cut in. Yeah, let's try. Yes. Okay, so Jillian did it really, really well. So it depends on how clean you want that first note. And I think that if you want it to be super brilliant, you're going to practice how precise your diamond cut is going to be. This comes also, believe it or not, in the White Swan solo. Very different part than... There's no diamond cutting in this beginning of the solo, but when I get to the first two notes of the second section of the White Swan solo, I definitely think of diamond cutting the first B. Right? It's not... That's really precise diamond cut. That's a bit too aggressive. But then you can taper that. Like I said, you can go in between the knife on the balloon, which is this. Hear that one? Knife on the balloon. Or let's see, a little bit deeper. That's a bit slower of a pull of the knife, but it's still clean. One of the C's that I talk about in bow technique. So I can make it very pronounced, the K. If I want it to be very brilliant, virtuosic. Yeah, with a little bit of makeup, yeah. And then up bow, same thing. So if you're practicing these diamond cuts, you start with down bows, for example, at the frog. You start here, down bow at the middle. You start down bow at the tip. That's harder. Then we start to do up bows. Up bow at the tip. There's a diamond cut. How about up bow at the middle? Right? Or at the frog. So that comes into, for example, Don Juan. Sorry, Jillian, I'm just going to gently remove you 1 second. Okay. So, for example, that's a diamond cut. Here's a diamond cut at the tip, down bow. Yes? There's a slow, concentrated bow with a good amount of weight. Yeah, slow bow. Where's the contact point? Sorry, there. Angle. Near the frog. Yeah, especially because I'm at the high register. So, here's a diamond cut on a down bow at the upper half. Yeah, you hear it again? One more time. There's no diamond cut. Here's a diamond cut here. So the knife cuts into the cheese. Here's another one. Yeah? Here, I find the string again. There's a knife on the balloon, but not pushing, because I'm going to rip the balloon. It's clean, but not or. Okay, the two undesirable sounds here. Or clean. Okay? You see how this works? Okay? So, oh, thank you, Barbara. This is clearly an example of top-down control of muscle function. It really doesn't work on its own, and your arm doesn't work on its own either. Thank you. Okay. Ah, this is great. Thank you, Master Violin. That knife and balloon demo just changed my existence. Woohoo! I like your choice of emojis. You've got great emojis. Okay, so Jillian, let's take a look at show us the variations that you can do for this. So it can be, if you want something more polite, if you want something more cutting, it goes. But how do you want to enter, Jillian? Good. Okay, excellent. So here's another discovery that I made while I was in the pursuit of diamond articulation. As I was going down this quest for cleanliness, because my bowing tends to be like that, and it drives me crazy. I don't like it because I know I want to. One, what was the tip I said at the beginning of the workshop? Hold myself up to a higher standard of sound. So, Jillian, for example, I did this as well. I want a diamond cut on every single eighth beat. And then what happens, it starts to sound a little bit angry. Yeah? So we don't want it to cross over into territory where it sounds aggressive. So here's where I'm going to go into a little bit of a contradiction. Not a contradiction, a nuance in articulation territory. So we talked about nuance in terms of speed, pressure, contact point. I want to now talk about nuance in articulation. Like I said, not every bow stroke is going to begin with a hard k or p, t, okay, or t, yeah? So we can actually go with a sh, a d, a r, a j, okay? So in this case, now we're going to go into what we call, what can be called saucer shape, like this. Let's say shape of a saucer. Oh, I moved my saucer out of my room. I had a saucer to put the cheese on. Or you can think of it as banana bow. Now, where I got banana bow is from my friend, principal cellist of the Edmonton Symphony, Raphael Hochman, and he's been studying with soloist Alban Gerhard. Alban Gerhard, the cellist, studied with Boris Pergamenchikov, and so this concept of the banana bow comes in, where we can actually have a nuanced approach of the bow to the string, where it comes into the string in the shape of a banana, and that's how I like to approach spiccato. So for all of you asking, Lynn, how do you approach spiccato? Okay, so you can approach spiccato with that diamond cut for sure, which is what Jillian, you were doing. Yeah, it works really, really well for slow, singled out notes like this. But once you get faster, it begins to sound a little bit labored and very tiresome. Actually, I get very tired. So this is really good. Talia, thank you for this. Talia has a good point. The middle two fingers on the bow add contour to your control and depth of tone. Very, very good point. So here, what we're going to do is temper the diamond cut now with a bit of a saucer shape. Does everyone hear the difference? Dun, 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 dun. So pop, 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 pop. Okay, so it's no longer the, let me get my balloon and knife out again. Here we go. Okay, so it's not pop, 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 because there's no time for that. It's now yum, pum, pum. I'm grazing, 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 grazing. There's a cushioned approach to the balloon. Does everyone see that? Jillian, do you see that? Yeah, okay, Jillian, you want to try that? Dum, 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 a little bit slow. Lovely, perfect demonstration. Jillian, what do you notice when you do that saucer shape?
It adds more ring to the sound.
Exactly, that's what I discovered as well. So in my pursuit of this, this diamond shape, diamond cut, which can help you for brilliance in chords, I discovered that if you go too far with it, it can really make your chords or your cuts too dry. So in this instance, it's very dry. Sure, if you want dry, in let's say Stravinsky or something like that, then definitely you can now apply this diamond cut to Stravinsky. But then if you want more resonance and ringing, as Jillian heard, then apply a bit more saucer shape. So even in this, so instead of, which you can do, but if you want a bit of add that banana concept, there's a bit of banana shape there. Let me show it on the side view. Do you hear a difference in the sound? Yeah, there's a difference in the sound. So now you have these two options, okay? So when you apply the banana shape, we talked about the depth of your sound, not pressure, right? Depth and weight. It comes from a heavier part of the arm. Now I'm going to pull here, right behind the elbow, this part right here. So I'm thinking of this part is heavy, and that prevents the hand from getting tight, like a bear claw. If the hand is tight like a bear claw, and I try to do that, let me tighten up the hand. Tight hand. Can everyone hear the difference or see the difference? Yeah? Yeah, okay. So yes, Mary, thank you. You see a difference. Okay, so this is basically the concept of how can we create clean articulation that makes your sound more brilliant, okay? Oh, we have a cellist. Hi, Kathleen. Cellist here. So thankful to find you live during my teaching break. So helpful. Already taking many notes in the 5 minutes I've been here today. Thank you. My pleasure, Kathleen. So, and Kathleen, you'll be pleased to know that some of this comes from cellists, really great cellists. So this is the thing where you can now vary. If you want that, you know, it's whatever it is, Paganini Caprices or whatever you want. Oh, we had a request for Paganini 14th Caprice. So if you want this diamond cut, sorry, Jillian, I'm just going to gently remove you one more time. Okay, so here we go. I've placed my knife in this cheese. Boom. I'm not gonna puncture my cheese or puncture my balloon, but I'm gonna feel the resistance of my cheese for the double stop. Oops, I didn't get that one. There, I got that one. So you can hear the cleanliness of my start. So this is not clean. Or there. So if I want to do a piece that starts that way, then I can decide that. But if I want a bit more grit, there it is. There it is. You hear it? There's my balloon or cheese, whatever. Now I'm pulling through cheese. Okay? So you can now then find the bite and apply the banana, if that makes sense. So let me try bite and banana. And where I'm feeling the banana is I pretend the bow is connected here. There. I'm bowing from almost this part of the arm. So that means this part of your fingers here, they remain supple. Not, because in the pursuit of diamond, they get a little hard. That's what I've found. So when you think of bowing from this part of the arm, then you're using bigger parts of the arm, bigger muscles, bigger bones, and then your sound will become a little warmer. Okay, and that means the tiny fingers and the muscles in the hand and the fingers will be a little more supple and forgiving, and that will give you more resonance. So I'm approaching the string this way, not like diamond, but that way. So you see the banana, the saucer shape? More resonance. Here, yum, down, down, bananas, bananas, banana, banana. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay, you can do it in Brahms. Sorry, yeah, etc., etc. Okay, so that is essentially everything I have in terms of VAPPS, the vibrato, the angle, the point of pressure, the point of contact, the pressure and the speed. You then layer that on with your control of the bow. Is it calm? Is it consistent? Can you control the speed, slow to fast, contact point from bridge to fingerboard and everywhere in between? Can you layer that on musically into your pieces? Can you also create a clean sound that doesn't have fuzz, doesn't have crunch, and has a clean articulation? Yeah, at the point of the first point of the note. So then we talked about the different types of approach to articulation. You can go into very clean diamond cut, or like, let's see, cutting through the balloon and the knife. You just rest the bow. Okay. So, okay, so someone's asking, Harish, you're asking about fuzz. Fuzz meaning anything that sounds fuzzy. Anything that's fuzzy, right? It's an undesirable sound. Okay, so, all right, there's a ton of questions. I don't think I'm going to get through all of them, but I will answer your questions. I'm going to thank Jillian. Thank you so much. So before I answer the questions, I would like to be able to share with you a way for you to continue this work with me. So let's see. Let me get this here for you. Let's see. Wait, just 1 second here. Oh, here we go. All right. Okay, so this has been my workshop on bow secrets and virtuosity and expression. So we covered quite a lot of ground. So I want now to ask you to type in the chat the answer to this question. What is your biggest takeaway? Because I have found that when you write something down, you retain it. And I do not want you to walk away from this workshop without taking away something useful. Okay, so please write down what you thought was the most helpful thing. Oh, thank you, Daniel. You're the one who asked for Bruch, Concerto, and Paganini 14. So thank you for that request. So write in the chat what your biggest takeaway was, because it's important for you to take something that you can act upon in the next weeks or days. Okay, so think about one thing that shifted your approach to tone. Was it resonance? Okay, was it dragging knife through cheese? Was it diamond articulation? Was it nuance? Long notes can never be flat. Okay, so let's see. Tanya says saucer shape. Fantastic. Yeah, Yunming says speed. Yes, speed is the #1 variable that we need to manipulate. Le Jardin, musical. Okay, musical nuance. Fantastic. Okay, self-awareness. Tim, good. Listening really carefully. Master violin, great workshop. The balloon and the cheese. What I'm trying to do with my sound and how will I approach starting my phrases as a result. Great. Talia, bow placement on the string. All of it, says Kite. L. Walter, listen more closely and determine if and where the problem is. Friendly neighborhood. Goober, banana bow, yes. Oh, there's so many of you. Chris says, cut the cheese, hover bow with Kreutzer 1. Aha, good. A Smike, knife, balloon, and cheese. Thank you. I'm glad I went to the dollar store and got that balloon. Yay. Okay, good. Phil, one of my VIPs, I should revisit Kreutzer, focus on bow control, long notes. Oh, this is great. Oh, so many comments. Fantastic. Kathleen, use imagery and sensations together to embody the movement and to express the desired sound. Lauren, focus on what and how the sound is managed as a recipe of sound. Okay, great. Fantastic. So, another question for you to think about. Now, what's your next step? What would you like to go deeper on? Remember, I want you to walk away from this workshop saying, yes, I know what I want to work on. I know what's been holding me back. Yeah? Okay. Fantastic. Banana bow. The makeup analogy helped a lot. That's Kendra. Thank you. Raymond. Yes. Cheese block, balloon pressure. Think about what's still missing in your playing and how you can move forward to address it. I want you to improve. Okay. You didn't come spend this time with me for nothing. Think about what you're going to work on next. I want you to give you some focus, some direction for the next week. I'll give you homework if I have to, all right? So today, let's review. I like to review. Everyone knows who works with me in VIP coaching knows that I like to review so that you have something to walk away with and you're not confused. We worked on the 5 C's of bow technique, okay? Let me review them first and foremost. Calm bow. Can you make your bow calm without bouncing, Can you make it consistent with the same sound throughout from frog to tip? Can you make it control? Can you control the speed? Can you control the pressure? Can you control the contact point? Are you able to make it? Are you able to know what contact point you're doing? That's the 4th C. And then are you able to make it clean? Those are the 5 C's. Okay. Then we talked about my personal acronym called VAPPS. V is the makeup to your sound. We add that later, and I have a whole workshop on vibrato, which you can find on YouTube. And most importantly, the angle of your bow has to be correct to the string to get the maximum amount of sound and resonance out of your instrument. Then you can start playing with pressure, with the point of contact and the speed, and then you can create your own palette, your own recipe, your own nuance for your repertoire, okay? What these variables give you, your knowledge of these variables will give you richer, more resonant sound. It'll give you more nuanced phrasing and expressive control. Remember to keep listening for that. And to give you something to be cognizant of. Clear articulation, and that equals virtuosic precision. You're going to need that for auditions. You're going to need that for concertos, okay? You're going to sound more professional when you are aware of these little details, okay? Right. So if you found today's workshop helpful, and we can keep going, all right? Because when you make small adjustments like this, they can be very, very transformative. So for example, I helped Nathaniel get into a master's program at Rice, and Nathaniel had brought in Paganini Fourth Caprice, Carmen Fantasy, Glasnock Violin Concerto, and he sounded like $1 million. But we were working on phrasing and musicality, and so we took some of these concepts into his music, and he got into the master's program. So if you're curious about what's possible, I'm very happy to help you. Danny also came to me in one Concertmaster. She was looking for some help with her excerpts, and so she eventually won Concertmaster. So I have a special invitation for those of you who are willing to go further into this material. I'm offering a free stamp assessment. What is a stamp assessment? It's a 45 to 60 minute call, free of charge, on my calendar. So what that is you're going to be able to have a personal consultation with me. It's not a lesson, and it's not a sales call. It's going to be a personalized consultation to find out what's going on with your playing, how I can help you with your personal goals, okay? So what that means, we'll take a look at your setup, how you approach the instrument. We're going to take a look at your technique, whether it's a bow issue, or maybe it's actually your left hand issue. Maybe your left hand needs to be cleaned up. Then we're going to take a look at your mindset, which I call the A game. People who work with me know that I work on confidence for musicians, making sure you're stage ready. So we can take a look at holistically what's holding you back, whether it's a mindset issue or a focus issue. We also look at muscle tension, because someone asked me about how we can prevent shaking. So that's another workshop on its own. Shaking comes from muscle tension. So we need to actually increase your body awareness on what's happening with your body. Your playing posture is also important, because if you are not set up for ease in your playing through physical setup, physical posture, then it might be sabotaging your playing and you might not know it. So I would like to help you analyze these in your playing, and then you'll be able to leave with a personal plan of action, and we can come up with specific strategies that will be tailored to you so you can play with more confidence. And I'll give you some recommendations for you to improve your practice habits, your posture, your mindset. And if I feel like we're a good fit, then I may invite you into my VIP coaching program. As you see, you'll see some of the VIPs already here present. They've come back for more. So, and is this call right for you? So this call is meant for really serious, very high level violinists who are training at a very high level. That means you're usually pre-professional or professional. You're teaching, you have students, you play professionally in orchestras, and you want to level up your skills. So Luke was an example. Luke was playing professionally across the US, in Florida and California when he came to me. He did my program twice, and then he won 2 auditions, actually. 2 orchestra auditions while we were coaching together. So if you're accepted as a VIP, then I will personally do the same for you that I've done for Luke and Nathaniel and Danny, and all the others who have been in my VIP program, Kendra, Philip, there's Kay, I'm not sure if Kay is here, but there's plenty of people. Chris, for example. I'll personally walk you through the path that I think is best for you. Okay, so you will be able to join the family, my VIP Violin Ninja family. So these people have won auditions, they play professionally. I've helped them win scholarships. I've helped them win titled chair positions in orchestras, and they feel much stronger in their playing, and they feel more confident. Okay, so all of these people have come to me for help with their Concertmaster solos or their school auditions. So, and if it's not a fit for the coaching program, you will still get a personal plan that I will come up with for you. Okay, so if you book a call now, and I'll drop the link in a second here. Let's see. Okay, hold on a second there. I think that's the link there. Oh, wait, I'm not sure if that's working. Okay, so I have a fast action bonus for everybody who books a call. I will reward you with access to my 4-part Spiccato mini-series. It's 44 minutes of me teaching Spiccato from start to finish. Everything from mistakes you're making to how we can create nuance in your repertoire, okay? So here's the QR code if you'd like to book a call. If you have another device, great. If you don't, then all you need to do is type in lynnkuo.com/free-call. I believe that's in the chat. Jillian, maybe you can help me figure that out. Okay, so that's the QR code. Feel free to scan it. I'll show it again. In that call, I will give you a free stamp assessment, and a personal plan. You can book a call by filling out a very short questionnaire once you scan the code or go to my website, lynnkuo.com/free-call. Jillian, does that link work? And can anyone confirm to me the link works? I hope I typed in the right link. Sometimes the link gets a little funny. And now we can move to Q&A time. Okay, so for those of you who have Q&A, I can start going through the long list of comments and questions. No, it's not working. Oh dear. Okay, hold on. Let me see if my friends, sometimes technology plays games. Let's see, does this work? That should work. Does it work? Let's see. Okay, well there it is. One more time. I don't know if that's going to work. Is that going to work, everybody? Can someone please tell me? Someone help me. Should help. Should help. Comments. Okay, let me see the comments. Yes, it works. Yay. Okay, one more time. All right, the second link worked. Thank you, Kendra. Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate the help. My VIP's coming into the rescue. Yay. Oh, thank you. The first one did not have the .com. Boop. Sorry. Okay, so I'm ready for Q&A. All right, you have tons and tons of questions. Okay, I'll leave that QR code for a second, but let me scroll for the questions. If not, you may type them again, and I'm just going to randomly choose a couple of questions. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, let me see. Questions. Okay, let me see the. I'm playing on the loner. We're doing the piece first. Okay, Kendra has a question here. Do you shape the articulation as you go, or would you learn the piece first? Oh, that's a good question. That's a very advanced question. Kendra. Okay, so let me stop this share. Okay, that's a really good question. Do you shape the articulation as you go, or would you learn the piece first? I think it's a bit of both. Yeah, it's a bit of both. You start learning the notes first and foremost. It's true. The notes are kind of the first thing you learn, and then I guess you put the details on the notes. It's kind of like learning how to take care of your face, but you're not sure what skincare creams to use, if that makes sense. I'm not even bothering with makeup yet. I'm just going to figure out, does that cream work for my oily complexion, or do I have a mixed combination skin? So that's kind of the maybe analogy that I'll use. So do I shape the articulation as you go? But as you learn the piece, you may say, oh, you know what? This piece demands really smooth bows. So I will make sure that I improve my smooth bow banana bows or my calm control bow. So as you get more experience learning different repertoire, you'll start to get an idea. Oh, this one demands really clean but not puncturing articulation. Or listen to a bunch of recordings, and as you listen to recordings, you'll get more experience on what is appropriate for certain repertoire. I hope that answers your question, Kendra. Okay, let's see here. How do you maintain control and fast speed without getting tense in the right arm or feeling like the bow will slip out of your hand? This is a question about tension, muscle tension. And I covered 2 workshops on this topic, and they were an hour and a half each long. So control and fast speed, this is a very complex question that I cover in my classes in my VIP coaching. So I can't really get into a detailed, because I will get into another half an hour discussion. But when you're playing fast, it's probably because you're getting tight in the right arm for sure. One of my golden rules for bow technique, if you want, write this down. If I have problem with my bow, the first thing that I will do to make sure it's a global solution is to do a scan of the body, a muscle scan, to make sure I have a relaxed back. So scan your back first. Tighten your back if you like with me. Relax it. Tighten it. Relax it. Do it with your instrument. Tighten it. Relax it. Now, can you play with that relaxed, or let's say non-engaged back? You can play with an engaged back, but you won't feel comfortable. So if you unengage the muscles you don't need, I don't need the back to be so tight to play this A string. There I go. There, I'm loosening my back. And if you learn to be more aware of your body, learn to subtract. I call this the subtraction game. I talked about this in 2 different workshops. So I recommend you go find them on YouTube. They're about an hour and a half each. So go find those. I think that's probably the best. Can you link those recordings for tension? I will take time to find them. You know what, Kite? Just Google. Just literally, Google's your best friend. Lynn Kuo Muscle Tension Workshop. I'm sure it'll pop up. It'll be the first thing. Yeah, you're going to find them? Great. Okay, good. Same question from Camille. How do you battle arm and hand tension in your bow arm? Same answer. You're going to practice body awareness. Are you tightening the hand? Are you breathing? Okay, I talked about that in the whole other workshop. So I recommend you go watch that workshop. There's a whole other free workshop that I gave. Okay, thank you for the lovely, warm comments. Thank you so much. Inspiring workshop. Lots of food for thought, Neon. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, Chris says, hi, I have to run. Everyone sign up with Dr. Lynn. She's the greatest. Aw. Thank you, Dr. Lynn. I always learn something from you. Oh, yay. Good. Excellent. Questions. Let's see. Any more questions? Questions? L. Walter. Can you discuss smooth bow changes? Very good question. So it's a similar answer. I also have a YouTube tutorial. You can Google, find Lynn Kuo smooth bow changes. Whole tutorial on that topic. It's similar. I have something like 7 different ways to do smooth bow changes. A big part of that is tension, being tight somewhere in the chain of your bow arm. So if you're tight in the neck, even if you're tight in the face, it will affect your bow mechanics. So you want to be able to flow like water. You can maybe imagine water flowing through a hose, which is your arm. And then if something cuts off the flow of water in your hose, then you know that you're going to be preventing the flow of your bow. So like I said earlier, I globally address any problem in my bow technique by making sure my back is not tightening up. My shoulder blade, start to think of the shoulder blade loose. In fact, I think of the shoulder blade connecting to the humerus bone. It's called the glenohumeral joint. Okay, it's a very shallow cup. This is the arm bone here, and the end of the bone lives in this socket here. This is your socket. I'm trying to emulate the socket, and it has to be free. Okay, so for it to be free, I have lots of videos. If you go to YouTube, my YouTube channel, okay, YouTube channel, you will find my whole bow list, a bow tutorial playlist. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Mary. So positive and creative, very helpful to be aware of what one is really doing. Thank you. Okay, what other questions can I answer? Let's see. So sorry that I won't be able to get to all of your questions. I'm trying to answer the questions that are relevant to this workshop. New comments. What else is here? Okay. ma'am, when we play cross over the string, what will be the bow dynamics? That's, okay, it depends on the piece. It depends on the piece. So crossing the string demands that you're able to control the bow. If the piece is piano, you play piano. If it's forte, you play forte. And if you notice, I actually created an articulation there and there. Do you hear it? Ta, ta. If I take away the diamond cut, it becomes, yeah, it becomes sa, sa. So you can actually subtract the diamond articulation. But being able to do it is what we covered today. Okay, let me just randomly pick another question here before we close up. Questions. You can type your question now. I'll take one last question. Any other questions? No? Looks like we have no more questions. Okay, so we got to recap. We have the 5 C's of bow technique. Yeah, we have the VAPPS. V is your makeup for the basics of your bow technique, which is going to be coming from the straight angle of your bow, point of contact, pressure, and speed. And then we have the different types of articulation. We have a very precise cut, and then we have the banana bow. So you can think about those concepts as well. Mary, VIP program, commitment, and cost. That we can discuss on the call. Okay, so Mary, you and I have talked a bit before, and I know you were thinking of joining. So the VIP program is a 12-week program. People come in to study with me intensively for 12 weeks. So it is for someone who's really committed to getting a lot of progress in a short amount of time. It's basically a commitment of a couple $1,000s, but that means we're guaranteeing you a lot of progress in a short amount of time. So if you're a serious person, not a hobby player, you really want to gain a lot of progress in your playing, then this is the type of work I'll do with you. Okay? All right, any more questions? No? Okay, I've kept you for an hour and a half. We talked about bow technique. We've talked about nuanced phrasing. We've talked about clean articulation that gets you very good results on stage, cuts through across the stage and in auditions, makes you clean for your excerpts, and giving you lots to think about. And I thank you for the time. And I thank you for spending a long weekend with me. If you're Canadian, this is a long weekend for us. I have one final question from Kate. Do you have programs for those who are not expert level, more hobby level? That depends on your level. Some people come to me to study with me in my VIP coaching program, and they are amateur musicians. Yeah, so they are amateur musicians, but they are still very serious about investing in their playing. So if that's you, then feel free to book a call with lynnkuo.com/free call. You'll fill out a questionnaire there. Will you answer some questions, and that will help you help us determine. You're welcome, Daniel. Thank you. Enjoy a long weekend. Yes, you too. Thank you, Talia. Thank you, and all present dearly. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you so much, David. So thank you so much, everybody. This replay will go up. You will see a link later. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me and tell me what you'd like to see for the next free workshop that I give. So I thank you all for your time. I hope you all learned something. Go share maybe a tweetable quote on your social media and say, this is what I learned today, right? What you write down will be remembered. Okay? So thank you so much, and I will see you on the next workshop.